A bright flame burst out of Jack's lighter. He always put the flame on max. Thick smoke fused into the shady background of the forest. Green ambient light beams originated off the forest's roof bedding. It gave a calm influence, and all what mattered now was the radio. Jack got anticipated, thinking he had to go back on the road. Finding nothing but some radio scrap would probably happen again. Jack and Riley moved slowly through the forest. They were in some sort of aftershock of what happened. Hordes of rabid animals, explosions, a talking dog. It seemed a little bit too much for them. "Why are we going back to the road, Jack?" asked Riley. Jack thought about all the drama so far and answered quietly, "Because," without paying any attention to Riley's concern. Suddenly, a furious feeling went through his blood, and he really got pissed off now. He ran as fast as he could, half tripping over the car shrapnel scattered around everywhere, and made it to the edge of the road. A frequency was noticeable. It sounded very low, with voices on the background. Jack thought it could not be true, for the last broadcast ever was live, not a casting which replayed its totally top 40 music songs. Jack followed the frequency and came close to Elephant Dung Heap. "Well, it's your turn now, Jack," said Riley. Jack closed his eyes and stuck his hand into the heap of fresh warm elephant dung, and pulled out a brand new radio. It was a pocket edition, made just before the war. A light screen indicated time, month, year, even the user's name. Chapter 6: Strange Meat. The pocket radio was fine and it had all the frequencies, but still could not replace a ham radio. Jack and Riley scouted the area to find the original ham radio, or what was left of it. "Let's move on, Jack," said Riley. Jack felt not as if he should give up. He knew there was more out there. For hours and hours they struggled straight on the road. It was dark, the wind blew softly now and then, creating a gentle atmosphere. It calmed them down. Riley decided to find a place to sleep for that night, and as he ran up forward, Jack felt alone again. Chucking his lighter into his pocket, his cigarette gave little light around his hands. They reflected pain and blood. Jack walked on, as he always did, and heard the tripping sound of Riley's legs. "I hope you got some good news now, Riley. I really don't feel like running and slamming. I am tired, my friend," said Jack. "No worries. There is fallout shelter nearby. It looks like if the commies succeeded in raving the place, it's a mess but good enough for tonight." Jack remembered the very first day. Sadly enough, the communists knew how to make mess of anything, also one's mind. "Sure. Let's go," said Jack. Another hour went by and Riley spotted the shelter in the middle of an industrial area. It looked far away from Greenfield, though it was only a few miles away. The area looked harsh. Steel and shadow was a typical theme here. Entering the shelter, they came across a few dead bodyguards. Both had walkies. There must be a radio in the shelter, he thought. It would make some sense. Probably also food. Jack saw what Riley meant, and it did not make one of them happy. Dead bodies everywhere. Some still rotten from recent survivors. Some totally boiled to the bone. Kids, teenagers, dogs, old people, it was all there. Jack lighted another cigarette and gripped his teeth. He was not planning to get paranoid now. He just wanted to sleep. A strong double sleeper was placed right in front of a stock supply. It looked interesting as they might have caught 2 flies in one hit. They watched each other briefly in the eye, and knew they both didn't ate and slept decent for a while. The hunger was calling. Moving the bed, they opened the door slowly and saw something they would have never believed. A kid, well-looking and munching some potatoes with beef, looked up and gave a bright smile. Riley fainted, and Jack figured out it could not have been the beef. "Happy Holocaust, my friend," said the young fellow. "Pete's the name. What brings you into this dark hour, if I may ask?" Jack wanted to join Riley in his hibernation, but could bear the look of fresh rear beef. "Oh, sorry. How rude of me. Sit, my man, sit. Have some food. I see that your dog is a little bit tired, isn't he?" Jack's first word was yes, as he filled himself with all the goodness on table. "So what's your name?" he asked, curious. Jack introduced himself, and talked on all night about how much food and supplies he had. Jack felt intrigued, and wondered how come he never saw this kid. He had a strange look in his eye. He was hiding something, here or for himself. Jack dropped his knife and suddenly got a fresh flashback. Dead people, meat, dogs, it all meant ad hoc to him until a small bell started ringing. What was in his mouth was not cow, and certainly sheep. Pete looked scared and opened his mouth. "What, you? Now you don't think I am cannibal, do you?" "I mean, for goodness sake, I don't even bite my nails," said Pete. Jack replied quick and said, "Well, what I am supposed to think, Pete? Where in the middle of nowhere? I don't know you. I have never seen you, and the last cow that I saw was in 2015. You better tell me what I am eating, or else my dog ain't gonna be so happy with you." Pete got scared, and started crying. I killed a horse," said Pete. Jack went from mad to happy. He liked horse, especially on sandwiches. "Oh. Well, I am sorry then." "Sorry. I had a rough day, and this dog laying on the floor ain't a lucky dog either." Pete wiped his tears of his eyes and asked, "So what's his story then? I mean, where did you got him?" Jack waked Riley up and gave him a bowl of mashed potatoes. Riley seemed delighted. "Riley? Well, he is a very special dog." Riley looked Jack quick in the eye, and Jack knew he had to shut up. "He was adopted by my grandfather, from the police. He is quiet smart." Pete nodded as if he believed Jack, but knew he was talking nonsense. These days anything had a story, especially in the Holocaust. "Good night, Jack. Make this place your home. You're welcome," said Pete friendly. He must have felt protected, thought Jack. Who knows how long he roamed here. Jack wished him a good rest, and also dove into the double sleeper. A new friend, a dog, food, it all seemed right for no, he thought. For now. The end.